Hey, this video is how to become a better wrestler. I had somebody ask me today, about how does a kid get good at wrestling, and so, I made one of these before. This one I think is a little bit of an improvement on that. I'm just going to show you some pictures. My background was I was a wrestler at Stanford University. This is one of my coaches, Mark Schultz. He's one of the greatest American wrestlers of all time. Here he is winning in the NCAA finals against Ed Bannock. Mark Schultz, who was like the undefeated defending national champion, Mark defeated him. Mark went on to win 3 NCAA titles. It's one of the best matches in NCAA history. You can watch it on YouTube. It's a great match. Bannock was like the big monster. Oh, that's a good picture too. Here he is celebrating here, let me get myself out of the way. Well, I can just move it over. He's celebrating with his brother and with Andre Metzger. All of them are national champions from Oklahoma. And it was just an awesome moment in sports history. I was there. I saw the match. It was incredible. Okay, so now we'll go to the next slide here. This is his brother Dave Schultz winning in the Olympic finals against the German Martin Nasp. Okay, Dave Schultz was the best technical wrestler. So he had the most knowledge of technique. He was sort of to wrestling, American collegiate style, freestyle of wrestling, what Bruce Lee was to martial arts. Okay, I'm just giving you some of this background before I teach you how do you get good. Because I spent a lot of time around guys who were All-Americans, national champions, Olympic champions, world champions. So I learned a lot about what it takes to get good. And this, of course, is a picture of Mark and Dave after they won Olympic gold medals. Okay. Here's the book about Foxcatcher, which is kind of a sad story. It's a good book because you see the mentality of Mark Schultz on his way to becoming great. It's a sad book in the other way that they didn't figure out how to make money, so they were dependent on the Foxcatcher system of DuPont later on. So you want to address that issue in your life, but still it's a great book. Here is a picture of Mark Schultz, in international competition, just dominating, just beat some opponent, he was a master of sort of his mental intensity to wrestling made him sort of unbeatable. He was sort of known as the best wrestler in the world, the scariest guy to wrestle in the whole world. He was so brutal. All right, here's Rocky with Coach Mickey, and the idea was, Rocky said, "I'm tired, how about tomorrow?" And Coach Mickey said, "There is no tomorrow. You need to do this today." And what I'm getting at is if you want to get good, you want to figure out how to get good as fast as possible because there's an advantage to getting good fast. So you're going to have to do things like you definitely got to wrestle in the off season. You get better way faster. Here's a picture of Dave again in international competition, and he's a pretty powerful looking guy. But I can just tell you, the other guys were much bigger and stronger than him. He just had better technique. Okay, this is just over at Stanford. We're goofing around. We got Mark is jumping off the chin-up bar, and that's just a plastic fake knife. But that's kind of the stupid stuff we do. This is a throw mat, in wrestling practice, just goofing around. I took a photography class, I think, my junior year or something. I had fun, just taking pictures of stupid stuff like that. I just show you a couple background pictures that I found were a little funny. I mean, I didn't organize this. I just did this spur of the moment, so I didn't have this planned or organized. I just found a couple old pictures. And when I was in 8th grade, I had gotten disqualified from the regular state tournament because the coach screwed me over. I had been on 2 teams just because there was no team locally where I lived, and the other place is real far. I went to like 2 practices, and then their coach got me disqualified from the state tournament, so I was pissed off at him. I won multi-state tournaments, so the best guys from a couple different states surrounding me. This is when I'm in 8th grade there. Got a lot of hair. Okay, and so I made this picture. I was going to send it to that coach who got me disqualified. I never sent the picture, but it's kind of a funny picture. The guy who got me qualified. I was basically saying, look, you got me disqualified from Illinois State Tournament, but I came and I kicked the shit out of everybody. So screw you, pal. That was kind of why I took that picture, but I never sent it. But that was the memory of it. Here's me in junior year of high school. I was a pretty strong guy. Junior year of high school, just won some local tournament. Here's me again. I think this is actually when I'm a sophomore in high school. This is when I was a junior in high school. These are old pictures. I don't got all my stuff organized. Here I am in freshman of college at Stanford. Lonely guy. I got my whole calendar on the wall. Just can't wait to see my girlfriend again. Studying all the time and wrestling. That's about all I did at Stanford. This is just me in my Stanford uniform there. This is, I think, in the summer between my freshman year at Stanford and my sophomore year. So I was a pretty strong guy. If I hadn't been injured, I think I would have been a national champion. It just kind of messed up my career. But I compensated by focusing on school. I did do okay. I was team captain. I set the all-time record for victories in a season up until that time with 39 victories at Stanford University, Division I. Okay, and here's the old, Letterman jacket and that. And I got a whole bunch of other pictures. I was in the newspaper lots of times, but I didn't really keep good track of all that stuff. Here's me with Coach Mark Schultz. Okay, he very much helped me a lot. I had some difficult times at Stanford, and he helped me a lot. Okay, here's Mark and Dave. That's the Hoover Institute back there. And we used to run sprints up in the hills. Okay, so now I'm going to start getting into key things I learned like from these guys. From Dave, what I learned was incrementalism, meaning that Dave would focus on learning every single thing you could learn in technique, because you can only get a little bit stronger than the other guys. And some guys genetically are just super freaking strong. You can only get a little bit quicker. Some guys are just super quick. You can only get a little bit better condition than other guys, okay? You want to try to do all those things, but to be a dominant individual in the sport, the best thing you could do is just focus on technique, because you can be 100 times, 1,000 times better than other people at technique. So that's where you want to put your focus. And you want to get good at technique, not just on takedowns because they're fun, but be good on escapes, be good on defensive wrestling, be good on pinning. Okay. Mark Schultz was the most intense guy you'd ever meet in the world. He basically said, all I care about is becoming a world champion. The only thing I own in the world is this motorcycle, and it's a piece of crap. And he was so intense. I didn't really talk to him much until I was scared of him my freshman year, until I was in my spring of sophomore year. And then once I started hanging around with him, then I got good real fast. And I should have hung around with those guys sooner. So you should seek out help from the best coach, okay? And Mark Schultz, the way he would talk, it was so intense that you just to be around him, it made you tougher and it made you a better athlete. All right, but that's really the big secret, is that you can only make small analog improvements in conditioning and physical strength, but you can make exponential improvements in technique. And I also think you really want to focus a lot on being a pinner, because I've seen the guys who are really good at pinning people, like Gene Mills is fantastic, and Wade Schallis. They got a lot of free videos on YouTube. You can also buy their DVD courses, but just watch their free videos on YouTube, and you will be amazed at how great they were at pinning people. Because being a good pinner, it's like having a good knockout punch for a boxer. As long as you've got that, you could always win. Even if you're way behind, you could always hit a cradle and win. Okay, so it's very valuable. Plus, you're going through a big tournament. If you can pin all your opponents in the first period up until the finals, you're going to have a lot more energy than the guy you're going against in the finals. So that's another thing I regret. I didn't focus more on pinning. It's kind of an East Coast thing to spend a lot more time on mat wrestling, top and bottom. And it's valuable to be good at that stuff, because I remember, the guys from the Midwest and from California, they were much better, or equal or better on their feet, okay? But the East Coast guys were better at top and bottom in the mat wrestling, and that's a valuable thing to have. Why not be good at everything? For endurance, you should push yourself to exhaustion every practice. What you should do is you want to push yourself so hard you feel like you're going to pass out. Do that every day in practice. And then what will happen is you'll find when you're in a match, you just got more energy than the other guy does. University of Iowa, we used to do that. Lots of times they'd be losing by a point or two, close match. And then in the third period, they just have so much more endurance, they would beat the crap out of their opponent. That's back when Dan Gable was the coach, and Iowa just used to dominate all the other teams. You got to get more experience. So wrestle in all the off-season tournaments. Go to every single one of them, as many as possible. When you're young, even if you don't qualify for the state tournament, go watch the state tournament, because just seeing it, you'll get a sense. Also, go travel out and see the national tournament. The more you see what it's like to be in the big tournaments, the more you'll be ready for it. Don't do anything where you're going to get head trauma. Don't do any soccer, heading the ball. Don't do any boxing. Don't do any MMA that leads to punching or kicking in the head, because all that stuff causes brain damage. And if you get brain damage, that's going to decrease your ability to do everything else the rest of your life. You don't want to do it. There's nothing good about brain damage, okay? Don't do anything where you get head trauma, all right? And don't practice wrestling techniques that lead to head trauma, okay? I wrestled an entire career. I never had any head trauma in wrestling, and you shouldn't either, okay? So pattern your style after that, you know? And I'm not a big fan of Greco-Roman. I didn't like Greco, okay? Greco-Roman is, out of the three styles, the one you'd be most likely to put yourself at risk for head trauma. Okay, you want to be a mat rat. Stay late at practice almost every day, doing more technique. Go to all the summer camps you can. Always be working on more technique, watching videos to get ideas on YouTube and stuff, and keep on trying the new techniques. Basically, what you want to do is you want to wrestle different levels of guys. So if there's somebody who you can beat really easy, don't do stuff you know automatically is going to work. Try all your new techniques on the guy you can beat easily. On the guy you're even with, try the new thing you're developing on that'll enable you to beat them. On somebody who's better than you, practice things like stalling. Stall, 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 and just say to yourself, okay, today I know this guy can beat me, but I'm not going to let him score a single point. So what if they get frustrated and pissed off? You need to develop your ability to defend, so develop your defensive technique. So what I'm trying to say is don't just go through the motions. Always be asking yourself, okay, what is my goal here? All right, I'm going to see if I can block his single leg attack, okay? And just anticipate it, you know, see if you can get him in a front headlock, a front body lock, see what you can do with it, okay? Arm lock. All right. Seek out the best coaches and mentors. You know, if you're lucky enough to have a good high school coach, that's wonderful, but most places don't. So you're going to seek them out through watching YouTube videos, going to summer camps, etc. Let's see. And again, in practice, always be trying to pin people because it'll just become a habit. Read the books about wrestlers, about, you know, the life of Mark Schultz, Dan Gable, and other wrestlers. They'll make you a lot tougher, and you'll get ideas from them. You'll be able to see a path to success for yourself, you know. And then also, you know, I would make a promise to God. God, I want to be the best I can be, and you know, help me to do that. And I would just focus and stay away from all the BS. Don't go out on the weekends. Don't be drinking alcohol. None of that stuff. Okay, you know. Watch out for girls too. You know, girls are a lot of fun. It's fun to have a girlfriend, and don't get me wrong, I had a girlfriend here and there in high school. But be careful, because, you know, don't start convincing yourself you're falling in love. You got a long ways away before you're ready to support a family and get married and all that stuff. And so you don't want to drag yourself down. Hang around with wrestlers, other guys who are good wrestlers and good people. Let's see, like I said, study their biographies and documentaries of the great wrestlers. Your behavior, don't waste any time on nonsense. No alcohol, no tobacco, no vaping, none of that nonsense. Don't be staying out late. Stay away from all that crap. All it's going to do is drag you down. You don't want that. Weightlifting is really overrated. I used to just beat the crap out of all the guys who are weightlifters because they can't move. I mean, wrestling's about movement. Look at Bruce Lee. He wasn't that big of a guy. He was just quick and he knew what he was doing. So that's really what you want to be. The best wrestlers I knew, they didn't lift weights. Most of them didn't lift weights at all. Just from wrestling, you're going to get very strong. And I like body weight exercise. You know, doing some chin-ups, doing some pull-ups as part of warming up for practice, for example. That'll make you pretty strong. I've never seen anybody become great at wrestling because of weightlifting. I think it's almost counterproductive to put too much focus on it. You can get injuries from all that stuff, from squatting, from deadlifting, from all that stuff. So anyways, the key point was focus on technique, wrestle in the summertime, technique, 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 and be a pinner. Be a pinner. Everybody works on takedowns. You work on your takedowns fine, but also be a pinner. Study Gene Mills and Wade Schallis, study the psychology, Mark Schultz, study the technique of Dave Schultz on your feet. So anyways, I hope you found that helpful.